Hello everybody, I am E. Krishna Rao Patro. Now we'll discuss about the questions related to linked list, double linked list, circular double linked list. Okay. So in the previous session we have seen all varieties of your linear data structures, stacks, queues and all. Now we'll see about linked list. Now they may ask certain set of questions related to linked list. The very first question they may ask, what is linked list? Then you can say a linked list is a self-referential data type or self-referential linear data structure. A linked list is a self-referential data type because it contains a pointer or link to another data of same type. Or you can say a linked list is a collection of nodes where each node is pointing to next node. This way also you can answer it. Linked list permits insertion as well as removal of nodes at any point. You can insert at beginning, you can insert at delete, you can insert beginning, at end or middle also. Similarly, you can delete a node at the beginning, at end as well as at the middle also. So whenever they ask what is the linked list, then you have to write this way. In a simple way, you can say linked list is a collection of nodes. Linked list is collection of nodes where each node is linked to its next neighbor node. So this way also you can answer. Okay. And remember here this diagram also you have to draw. So from the diagram itself you can say every node is having data part as well as the link part. The link part is nothing but address part, because for every node there is address. For example, if you observe this diagram, there are 4 nodes are there. First node is having A, second node B, third node C, fourth node D. Assume the first node address is 100, second is 200, third is 300 and fourth is 400. This is the way they given. Then you can mention here the first node having data A, but link part is what? It is nothing but it's pointing to next node. So the address of the next node is 200. So you can write here 200. Similarly, second node having value B and it should point to the third node, but third node's address is 300. So you can mention here 300. Similarly, third node having value C and it is pointing to fourth node, and the fourth node's address is 400. So you can mention here 400. Similarly, fourth node having value D but is pointing to nowhere. That means it's the last node. So you can represent as a cross mark. The cross mark indicates none or null. So this is one type of linear linked list. So generally when I say linked list, always it is a linear linked list. So linked list is a one type of linear data structure. It is a linear data structure. So you can say this way also. A linked list is a linear data structure. So this is the correct way to answer. Next, they may ask a question, how to represent a single linked list node using Python. So using Python programming language, how will you represent a node? Generally, in the diagram you are mentioning like this. You are putting a box. There you are writing a data part. And then you are writing the link part. The link or the next. Diagrammatic representation is easy. But how will you represent through program? Because it is a collection of 2 things. Data part as well as the link part. So if you want to combine together as a single one, then you have to take the help of a concept called class. So write a class node followed by colon symbol. Then you have to write one init method, because whenever node is created, immediately it has to allocate memory and you have to store the data. So for that sake you write the init method. This is called constructor. What do you call? Constructor. So whenever object means node is created, the constructor will be called. There through the constructor you are passing the data and the data will be stored in the node. because I told you in every node you are having data path as well as the link path. The data path is the real data and the link path is the address of the next node. So what is the address of the next node? The address is not known. So if you do not know, then write here none. That's why when you are writing using object-oriented way of Python, then you should write, there is a built-in keyword called self for any member of a class. You have to give the self keyword. You have to give a self keyword. The self keyword will make you as a member of the class. So this init is a member of the class and I am passing data as a parameter. That data you can store here. Then there is a next pointer. The next pointer will be pointing to the next node's address. But here the next node is not known. What is the address? We do not know. That's why we put none. So this is the way of representing a single linked list node. Okay. Similarly, they may ask another question: how to represent a double linked list node using Python? So when I say double linked list node, the name indicates what double link means. There will be two links. See here, in a double linked list node, there will be data path. At the same time, there will be a previous link and there will be a next link. Okay. Here also please observe, here in the single linked list node I mentioned here next. So here is nothing but I will write here next. I will write here next. The next is nothing but link only because it is holding address of the next node. Similarly here, when you are creating a node, you have to store the data path because you are passing data as a parameter. Similarly, you have to maintain two links because you have to maintain the previous node's address as well as you have to maintain the next node's address. That's why you have to maintain a two pointer. So this pointer will be holding previous node's address and this pointer will be holding the next node's address. And when you want to write it in Python, then you write same thing, class node colon def underscore init, then pass the node data as a parameter. After passing data as a parameter, then you can write self.data equal to data and self.previous equal to none and self.next is none. Because when you are creating the node, initially I will assign null value. Later on I will adjust. If at all I know the address, then I will adjust the address. So this is the way you can represent a node for a single linked list or double linked list. So most of the time they will ask this question. And remember, this is the representation through diagram. Same diagram you are representing through program. Because while writing program you have to follow this. But while writing in a question paper means exam, first you have to write the diagram, then you have to write the program. So these diagrams will be converted into program. So here one, first data, here second one, here third one. How many? 3 items you have to maintain. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 items. So same diagram I have represented in the Python. Next, what type of memory allocation is referred for linked list? So whenever you are using a linked list program, so what type of memory you are using? And the answer is dynamic memory allocation. Remember, they may ask another question: how many different types of memory allocation techniques are there? How many different types of memory allocation techniques? Actually, there are 2 types. When I say memory allocation, there are 2 types. Memory allocation. One is static memory, another one is dynamic memory. So when I say static means fixed. So during compilation time, you will be knowing how much memory you have to allocate. So before compilation itself, the memory allocation will be known. Whereas there are some technique where you will be knowing during the compilation time. That means before compilation you are not aware. Whenever you are knowing during runtime, that is called dynamic memory allocation. So your linked list may contain 2 nodes or 3 nodes or 4 nodes or n number of nodes. Depending on the number of nodes, it has to allocate memory. So that will be known during runtime. That's why this comes under dynamic. So linked list always uses dynamic memory allocation. Then whereas simply when you declare as a variable x, y, z. So if x is integer type, immediately the 4 bytes of memory will be allocated. If it is a character, 1 byte of memory will be allocated. Depending upon the type, it will be allocated. So whenever the memory is allocated before compilation time, then that is static. Whenever the memory is allocated during runtime, that is dynamic. Similarly, they ask, what are dynamic data structures? Dynamic data structures are the structures that expands and contract as a program runs. It provides a flexible means of manipulating data because it can adjust according to size of the data. So in dynamic data structure, the memory requirement either may increase whenever you need or it may decrease whenever you do not want to use. That means when the work is over, you have to deallocate. So allocation and deallocation can be done during runtime. Those things comes under dynamic data structure. So during runtime, you can allocate or you can deallocate also. That is the nature of dynamic. Where in the case of static, you cannot allocate or you cannot deallocate. Whatever the memory is given, that is fixed for you. That memory cannot be utilized by others because that is dedicated to you. That is in the case of static. Where in the case of dynamic, that memory can be expanded or can be contracted. It can be less also. So that means dynamic data structures are more memory efficient way. So memory can be utilized effectively in the case of dynamic structures. Next, what are the applications of linked list? Where exactly these linked lists are useful? Both stacks and queues are often implemented using linked list. Whatever I think in the previous session you have seen, the stack follows last in, first out. Queue also follows first in, first out. Those things also you can implement using linked list. Other applications like skip list, binary tree, unrolled linked list, hash table, heap, self-organized list, they are also can be implemented using linked list. So the linked list is useful for various types of application. Similarly, I can say now your browser. In the browser also, you are using the double linked list because there are two buttons, previous button as well as next button. If you click previous button, it goes to previous page. If you click next button, it goes to next page. So during runtime, you can go from first page to second page also. So that allows you to traverse in both direction. So there they are using this linked list concept. Next, how many pointers are required to implement a simple linked list? Remember, generally 3 pointers are used. A head pointer, which is used to store the starting record, means the starting address of the node. Next is a tail pointer. It is used to store the last node's address. Of course, this tail pointer may be useful or may not be useful, but in some application to make the process fast, you may use tail pointer because tail pointer will be pointing to last nodes of the linked list and your start pointer by head pointer will be pointing to beginning of the list. So the key property in the list in the last node, that is a subsequent pointer 2 points to nothing at all, and a pointer in every node pointing to next node. So in every node again there is a pointer. So one is head pointer, tail pointer, as well as the next pointer. Head, tail, as well as next pointer. So these are the 3 generally useful in the single linked list. Whereas if you talk about the double linked list, there you may use again previous pointer as well as next pointer, as well as head and tail. That means 4. So in that case, it may use 4 pointers. Though implemented single linked list, simple linked list means single linked list, simple single linked list. Whereas when I ask double linked list, then you should say answer 4. What are the 4? Head, tail, previous, and next. So these are the 4 varieties of pointers will be useful in double linked list. So depending on the type of linked list, the number of pointers also changes. Next, they may ask, what is the primary advantage of linked list? The primary advantage of linked list is mainly in terms of the memory efficient way, because memory can be either allocated dynamically or can be deallocated dynamically. That is also main advantage. A linked list is ideal data structure because it can be modified easily. At any point you can modify. At any point you can insert. At any point you can delete. So once you insert, memory will be allocated. Once you delete, memory will be deallocated. So this means that editing a linked list works regardless of how many elements are there in the list. Editing is easy. So that is the main advantage of linked list. So most of the time, during runtime you have to decide which node I have to delete or which node I have to keep or how many nodes I have to insert. that will be known during runtime. So because memory can be allocated during runtime, as well as when the work is over, that can be also deallocated. So that's a is the main advantage. So main advantage is in terms of memory utilization. Memory utilization. Utilization. Memory can be utilized effectively. That is the main advantage. Next, seventh question. What is a double linked list? A double linked list has two pointer. One is left pointer and another right pointer. Or you can say one is previous pointer, another is next pointer. That way also you can write. Left is nothing but the previous, right is nothing but the next. So which enables to traverse in either direction. Because of this left and right pointer, you can traverse left side or you can traverse right side of the list. So compared to single linked list, the double linked list requires extra space to store the additional pointer. Because in the case of single linked list, there is only single pointer. You can move forward only. You cannot come backward. Where in the case of double linked list, you can go backward as well as you can go forward. Because there are two pointers. So with the help of the left pointer, you can traverse left side. With the help of the right pointer, you can traverse right side. So, but every insertion and deletion requires manipulation of two pointers. Whenever you are inserting something or deleting something, both pointer you have to manipulate in a proper way. Otherwise, you may get a wrong result. So, it will take little bit time to do this operation. Because you have to update two pointers, left as well as right pointers. And in a double linked list, you can mention through a diagram, you can maintain a set of nodes. First link, second link, first link, second link, first link, second link. This is pointing here, this is pointing here, this is pointing here, this is pointing here. So you have to maintain like this. Okay. So most of the time they'll ask this linked list question. So you can maintain a node with address 100, another node with address 200. Assume there are two nodes. When there are two nodes, in every node again three parts. Data path, assume my data is some A. Second node data is B. And its address is 200. This 200 will be available at the first node's next path. That means here at 200 should be there. That means it is pointing here. Similarly, assume after second node nothing is there. So I'll put a null. It indicates it's end of the list. It indicates it is end of the list. And this is also not pointing anywhere. That means after first node, previously nothing is there. So I'll put also null. I'll put a null. And second node is pointing to first node. So I should write here 100. So it indicates that this is pointing to first node. And this 100 is hold by head. Head pointer is pointing to 100. So this way also you can represent. So whenever they are asking what is double linked list, then you should write theory path as well as diagram path. The diagram plays major role. Because the diagram speaks about the concept behind the double linked list. Without diagram, you may not get full mark. Next, they may ask what is circular linked list. The name indicates. Circular linked list also a linear data structure. It is a linear data structure where the last node of the single linear list, the link field, because I told you in a node there is a link field. The link field of the last node contains the address of the first node. Where in the case of single linked list, the last node, assume there are 4 nodes are there, it is pointing to null. Assume this is 10, this is 20, this is 30, this is 40, and it is pointing null. Assume this is 100, this is 200, this is 200. So it's pointing here. And this is pointing here. That means this is 300. 300. And this is pointing to this node, 400. So that means what? Every node is pointing to next node. Whatever the last node is pointing to null because it is a simple or linear linked list. My head pointer is pointing to 100. But when you want to make this as a circular linked list, then this path, the null path, you have to avoid. This is pointing to first node. First node is how much? 100. So this will be 100. So that means the last node's link will be holding first node's address. That is the main idea behind circular linked list. Because it looks like now circle. But arrangement is linear only. That's why it is a linear. Okay. So in the last node of a single linked list, the link field contains null reference. A less common convention to make the last node to point to first node of list. So in this case, the list is said to be circular. Whenever the last node of the link means last node's link contains the first node's address, then that type of list is called circular single linked list. So you have to write the definition. At the same time, you have to write the diagram also. Without diagram, you may not get full marks. So write both theory part as well as the diagram part. And remember, if it is a double linked list, circular double linked list, in that case what will happen? If it is a circular double linked list, then you have to maintain if it is a circular double linked list, then you have to assume that 3 nodes. Assume it is 100, it is 200, it is 300. These are what? Address of the every node. Assume here data is A, here data is B, and here data is C. Because it is, I want to make circular double linked list. Circular double linked list. In that case, first node, so right part, how much? 200. So 200 should be written here. 200. Similarly, second node is pointing to first node. So the previous should be 100. This node, second node is pointing to third node. So what is the value of, what is the address of third node? That is 300. So 300 should be written here. And third node is pointing to second node. What is the address of second node? That is 200. So 200 should be written here. Now, if it is a linear double linked list, first node's left is null, right? Last node's right is null. That is the linear. Whereas when you want to make it is a circular double linked list, then the last node's right part will be holding this address. So that means this is pointing to here. Pointing to how much? That is 100. So instead of null, then you have to write here 100. That indicates that the last node's right path is pointing to first node. Similarly, first node's left path, first node's left should hold this address. How much? 300. So this should be holding 300. So this fellow is pointing here. Okay. So that means the circular linked list can be a circular single linked list or circular double linked list also. Sometimes they may ask what is circular double linked list, then you have to represent this. Or whenever there is circular single linked list, circular linked list, always it is single only. But sometimes they may ask circular double linked list also. In that case, you have to represent this. So what you have to say? In a circular double linked list, the last node's right part will be holding first node's address and first node's left part holding last node's address. This thing you have to say. I hope it is clear. Then ninth question. What is the application of circular linked list? What is the application of circular linked list? Where exactly circular linked lists are useful? Of course, there are many applications, but one of the very, very prominent applications are used to allocate CPU to resource because it will going in a circular queue, one after other, in a round robin fashion. That's why they are using circular linked list. Because it is used to maintain the jobs. First job, second job, second, third, like this, it has to allocate these resources. So there they are using circular list. Then how do you calculate the pointer difference in a memory efficient double linked list? The pointer difference calculated using pointer to previous node or pointer to next node. Because I know my previous node's address as well as I know my next node's address. So by differentiating current address with the previous or current address with next, if I subtract, then I will find the pointer difference. Then they are asking what is the time complexity of inserting a node in a double linked list. How much time it requires? to insert a node in a double linked list. Because here my question is the time complexity behind inserting a node. Inserting a node in a double linked list. The name indicates because you may insert at the beginning, or you may insert at the end, or you may insert at the middle also. Whenever I say inserting a node in a double linked list, in worst case, first I will say in worst case, that is order of n, because you may insert at the end, so you have to traverse till end. So order of n in the worst case, because the position is inserted maybe at the end of the list. Hence, you have to traverse through the entire list, so to get the correct position, hence order of n. But if at all you are inserting at the beginning, then by best case, the best case is order of 1. Because you are inserting at the beginning itself. Whereas if you are inserting at the middle or end, then that is order of n. Because you have to traverse n time to reach the destination. Okay. So you can mention either order of 1 or order of n. Order of n is the best case. That means inserting at the beginning. Inserting at the beginning of the linked list. And you can write order of n if you are inserting at the either end or middle. Because you may insert anywhere in the linked list. So inserting a node at the beginning is different. Inserting a node at middle is different. Inserting a node at the end is different. Of course, here time complexity in middle and end is same, and beginning is different. Next question, they may ask, what is the or what differences a circular linked list from a normal linked list? How normal linked list is different from circular linked list? If you observe here, in a circular linked list, the next pointer points to null only when it is a list is empty. Otherwise, it points to head of the list in a circular linked list. See here, in a normal list, first node is pointing to second node is pointing to third node is pointing to null. That is the normal linked list. Where in the case of circular list, first is pointing to second is pointing to third, and third is pointing to first. So this way it works. When there is a single node in a linear linked list, then put a null. If it is a circular, then it will be pointing to there itself, in the beginning itself. So in a circular linked list, you will not find any null. In circular linked list, no null at all. Where in the case of linear, you will find a null pointer. So that is also main difference. What differentiates the circular linked list from normal linked list? There is a null pointer in normal linked list, where there is no null pointer in the circular linked list. Because in the circle, last node is pointing again first. So there is no null concept. Similarly, there is another question. What is sparse matrix? What is sparse matrix? Sparse matrix in which most of the elements are 0. In which most of the elements are 0. If a matrix contains n number of elements, out of n, if more than half is 0, then that matrix is sparse matrix. Because generally you are representing the matrix in two-dimensional array. So in the two-dimensional array, you are storing the data in rows and columns form. Assume it is 3 by 4 rows. 3 by 4 means 3 into 4, 12 elements. Out of 12, its half is 6. More than 6 zeros are there. Then we'll say it is sparse matrix. A matrix which contains more zeros than non-zero, then that matrix is called sparse matrix. So a sparse matrix is a matrix in which most of the elements are 0. Identity matrix is a matrix in which the principal diagonal matrix are 1 and test elements are 0. Unit matrix also called identity matrix. Zero matrix is a matrix in which all the elements are 0. That is called zero matrix. So most of the time when they ask sparse matrix, then you should say a matrix which contain more zeros than non-zero. Non-zero means what? It can be a positive value or it can be a negative value also. That is a sparse matrix. Now you see, observe here. I am having a 4x4 matrix. 4x4 matrix means what? It can contain 4 into 4, 16 elements. Out of 16, assume I am having 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 5, 0, 3, 0, 0, 1, 0. Here you observe here. 0, 0, 0, 0. 3 non-zeros are there and remaining are zeros. Out of 16, only 3 are non-zero and remaining 13 are zeros. So it is a sparse matrix. It is a sparse matrix. Similarly, assume I am having 5, 3, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 5, 0, 6, 0, 0. Here you found limited zeros. That means non-zeros are more. So it is not a sparse matrix. It is a normal matrix. So it is not a sparse matrix. Whereas this is a sparse matrix. So you must be very careful. As well as you have to count the zeros as well as non-zeros. So when I say non-zero, it can be a negative value also. The 5 can be minus 5 also. The 3 can be minus 3 also. So it will not bother whether positive or negative. Only it will say whether 0 or non-zero. If it contains more zeros, then that matrix is called sparse matrix. So your identity matrix is also a sparse matrix because only diagonal path is non-zero, remaining are 0. Similarly, your unit matrix also contain more zeros. That's why it is sparse matrix. Most of the time they will ask another question. What is the time complexity of inserting a new node at the head of a circular single linked list? Head of a circular single linked list. That means you are having a circular single linked list. At head you want to insert. Assume this is a circular linked list. First one, second one, third one, fourth one. Okay. First one is pointing to second one. Second one is pointing to third one. Third is pointing to fourth one. Fourth is pointing to this. And your head is here. Head is pointing here. Now the question is what? What is the time complexity of inserting a new node? Inserting a new node at the head of the circular single list. That means you want to insert here at the head part. So if you want to insert here, I can change the head here. Head can point here and it can point here. But when I use a circular, the last node should point to this part. But how to come to last node? So I have to traverse from beginning to till end. So that means end time I have to traverse. So my traversing takes more time than inserting. That's why I have to traverse end time, then only I have to insert. So this takes order of end time because of my traversal. So time complexity of inserting new node at head of the single linked list is order of n because you have to traverse through the list to find the tail node or last node. This is my tail node. Tail or last. If you are not updating the tail node, then it is not a circular linked list. So whenever you are inserting at the head of the circular single linked list, you have to change head pointer. At the same time, you have to change the tail pointer also. That's why to change the tail pointer, then it requires order of n because you have to traverse. Then they may ask another question. What is the output of the following code? What does the following function do for a given linked list? See, whenever I say given linked list, it is always a linear single linked list. Whenever this question is given this way, also you have to think this way. Always this is the formula. They have given the question what? Def fun1 of head. That means fun is a function which takes head as a parameter. Means head is the what? Starting point. If head is none, return, doing nothing. If head is not none, then comes here, print head of data and print head of data and then call fun1 is calling head of next. That means what? You are having a single linked list with value 10 with value 20, with value 30. Assume there are 3 nodes. First is 100, second is 200, third is 300. First is pointing to second, head is not none. My head is pointing where? Head is pointing first node. First is how much? 100. So my linked list is there with 3 nodes with value 10, 20, 30, and head is pointing to first node. Head is pointing to first node, and first is pointing to second node. Second is pointing to third node, and third is pointing to nowhere. So that means my linked list having 3 nodes with different values. Now here what happened? When I am giving the head pointer, it is asking print head of data. That means first is print 10. 10 is printed. After printing, the fun is calling fun. That means what? Whenever the function is calling itself. So it is a recursion. The same function is calling itself with head of next as a parameter. Initially it was printing head. Then the control goes to this node. Here, head pointer is pointing second node. Second node is it is how much? 200, which is not none. If it is not none, then it comes here. Print head of data. How much? 20. So after printing 10, then it prints 20. Then head of next. Then head is pointing to third node. That means head is pointing to third node. Head also not none. Then head of data. So how much? 30. So 10, 20, 30. Next, head of next. Now it is pointing to out of this. That means head is now pointing none. Whenever is none returns, it is returning. So that means what exactly this code is doing? It is printing 10, 20, 30. It prints the data from left to right. Left to right. So what does the following function does? What will write? It prints the single linked list from left to right. Print the data from a linked list from left to right. This is the answer. If total you have taken 10, 20, 30, then it will print 10, 20, 30. But it prints from left to right. Prints from left to right. So you can write this way also. Next, what is the output of the following code? Now if you observe here, the previous code and this code. In the previous code, the print statement was above the fun. In the next program, the printf statement is below the fun. Now printf is below here. That means it is keep on calling. Fun is calling fun. So whenever you are implementing recursion, what happens? Internally, it will be using a stack. So in the stack, the complete code will be push. So here what happened? The fun is calling fun. Whenever you are calling, the complete code will be pushed into stack. So after pushing, it will check whether condition is satisfying or not. If the termination condition is true, then it will return. Otherwise, it will keep on calling. So after returning, it is executing because this printf statement is below the fun one. So this will not execute immediately because fun is calling fun. It is going in a recursive way. Whenever you are returning, this printf is written. So here 10 is there, here 20 is there, here 30 is there. So while returning, the 30 will be printed first. Then 20 will be printed and then 10 will be printed because the printf statement is below the function. So in the recursion function, if the printf statement is below that function, then it will print while returning. So that way the answer will be 30, 20, 10. That means what? The output is it prints the data from right to left. Prints data from right to left. So this is the way. So you have to observe first where the printf statement is available, whether above the function or below the function. If it is above the function, that means what? It is printing and then calling. Whereas when the function is below that, it says first you are calling, keep on calling. While returning, then print. That means you are printing from right to left. So if you answer this, what do you write? It prints the data from right to left. So in the reverse direction. Or you can write it print data in reverse direction. Not in the left to right way. Next, they may ask another question. In the worst case, the number of comparison needed to search a single linked list of length n for a given element is as. Now you are having a linked list with n number of nodes, Now you are trying to search an element. Then they are asking in the worst case, if the data is not available, in that case, what is the time complexity? If the data is available in the first place, okay, well and good. But here in the worst case means it will take the first node, then it will go to second node, then go to third node, then it will go to last node until found. So in the worst case, the number of comparison needed to search a single linked list of length n, that means there are n number of nodes for a given element is order of n. So whenever trying to search, so in a single linked list, in the worst case, the time complexity order of n. Okay. So this way, they have given the multiple answers are there, but this is the correct answer. But if at all they are asking the best case, in that case, that will be order of 1. This is the best case. So best case will arise only when if the data available in the first node itself. If the data is not available in the first node, then you have to keep on checking node by node. So this is in the worst case or your average case. In all cases, you have to check. Most of the time they will ask this type of question. Best case, worst case as well as average case. And remember, whenever they are asking worst case, always you think about it. The data may be available at the end or data may not be available also. Whether available or not available at the end, then you can say order of n. So the answer is D. Next question. Let P be a single linked list. Let Q be a pointer to intermediate node X. So that means you are having a linked list. And that linked list is pointed by a pointer P. And there is another pointer Q which is pointing to node X. That means you are having so the scenario they have given different. Question is what? P be a single linked list with P as a pointer. P points to first node having value 10 and second node is assumed 20 and second is pointing to third node having value 30. Now the question is Q is already pointing to assume this is node X. What is the worst case time complexity of the best known algorithm to delete the node X from the list? Already you know the location where you want to delete or which one you want to delete. If you know the location, whether it's best case or worst case anything, if you know, then that is takes constant amount of time. So whenever it takes constant amount of time, that is always you have to represent through order of 1. So order of 1 says it takes fixed time because you know the exact location of the data. Here the question is P is a pointer pointing to the single linked list and Q is a pointer to the intermediate node where the X is available in the list, and now they are asking how much time it takes to delete the node X. If you want to delete the node X, then first of all you would find. But here you need not find because already you know the location. So if you know the location, then directly you can delete. So when there is a direct operation done, then it takes constant time. So whenever it takes constant time, then the time complexity is order of 1. So this answer. So you have to see the question. If at all the address is not given, in that case, if the address is not given, in that case, you have to try to search from beginning to till the data found. So to find that nth element, in that case, the order of n. If the X is not given, in that case order of n. But if the X is already given, then this answer. Okay. So you have to read the question thoroughly. Based on the question, then you have to answer. And you should not confuse whether it's the order of 1 or order of n. always draw the diagram and try to keep the pointer in a proper way, and then you can answer it. Next question. The linked list are not suitable data structure of which one of the following problem? That means in which type of application? In which type of application you cannot use the linked list at all? Because in the case of linked list, you have to go in a sequential order. You have to go in a sequential order. If you are going there randomly to somewhere where you cannot reach, in that case you cannot use the linked list concept. For example, in the insertion sort, I can insert one by one. I can insert at the end, or I can come to previous. So there I know my previous node's address, so I can traverse. So that is possible. Similarly, radix sort also possible. Similarly, polynomial manipulation, because there also you are maintaining the nodes where you are having base and exponent. Node by node you can insert. So that is also possible. Whereas in the case of binary sets, you cannot implement. So this is the answer. So in binary sets you can apply it, because in binary sets what you have to do? Always you have to find the middle position. How to find the middle position? Starting plus ending, add it, divide by 2. Then you will get a middle position. Whereas in the case of linked list, you cannot come to middle address, because those addresses are not in a sequence, because those are all dynamic. The first address may be 100, second may be 500, next may be 300, next may be 900. Whichever address is available, that will give during runtime. Because addresses, that is not decided by you, that is decided by the system. That's why you cannot come to middle position by dividing. Where in the case of array-based system, you can find the middle position, starting plus ending, because that is compilation time, the memory is fixed. So there that is possible. Whereas here in binary sets, using linked list, you cannot come to middle. You cannot come to middle of the node, middle node of the list. So that's why binary sets is not useful to implement using linked list. So binary sets cannot be implemented. Binary sets cannot be implemented using linked list. Cannot be implemented using linked list. Most of the time they will ask a question, why binary sets cannot be used using linked list? Binary sets cannot be used because you cannot come to middle position. Whereas it is possible if at all you are using array, because you know the starting index as well as ending index. In array it is possible, whereas not with the linked list. Next question. Consider the function f, and the function takes one structure as a parameter. One data type means one data is there, as well as one next pointer is there. So a structure having these two items, data as well as the next pointer. Now the function takes a pointer of this. That means it is one type of linked list application, where you know the address, starting address. Now here the question is what is the output of the following function? What exactly this function does? That means what is the goal of this particular function? The question is what? I am passing the parameter p. P is the pointer, means starting address of the linked list. Here question is what? If p is null, sometime if nothing is there, p is null. Or if p of next is also null. Or if p of data is less than p of next of data. Assume here first is data 10, second is 20, third is 30, fourth is 50. If the data is available in this way, first is pointing second is pointing to third, like this. In that case what? 10 is greater than 10 is here. You are asking 10 of p of data is less than or equal to next of data. That means 10 is less than 20. Yes. If it is yes, it goes there. 20 is less than 30. Yes. 30 is less than 50. Yes. If this condition true, then this will be returning true. That means in that scenario, it will return true. So you have to check how the data are arranged. The elements in the list are sorted in a non-decreasing, that means increasing order. That means 10, 20, 30, 50. So this way. Non-decreasing means either greater or equal also. So if this type of linked list is created, then because here f is calling f, that means recursive. So when all the conditions true, it will return true. So question is what? Consider the function f. Now for a given linked list P, the function f returns 1 only if under what scenario it will return true. So the answer is B. Because under this type of data, then only return true. Because you are checking the condition. If P is null, that means initially assume P is a linked list without node. In that case also return true. Or if at all you are having a P pointing to a node where there is only single data is there, that is also return true. Or if the data is first case, second case, third case. In third case, you are checking the data. P of data is less than P of next of data. That means 10 is less than 20. Then you are calling F is calling F. You are going to next. 20 is less than 30. Yes. Again going to next. 30 is going less than 50. Yes. So whenever this type of scenario comes, it will return true. If at all my data is there 10, 20, here I will assume instead of 30, I will put here 8. In that case, it will not return true. It will return false. It will return false. But here asking, it has to return true. So it will return true only if the data are in a increasing order. For example, I am having 28. Yes. In that case, it will return true. 28. So that means if the data are arranged in a sequential order with non-decreasing order, then return true. Then another question. A circular linked list is used to represent a queue. That means you are using a circular linked list using a queue. A single linked list, a single variable P is used to access the queue. That means using P, you have to access the element of the queue. To which node the P should point. Both the operation NQ and DQ can be performed at constant time. So now you have to find the position where I have to means where the P should point, where you can do both operation, insertion as well as deletion. NQ means what? Insertion. DQ means what? Deletion. So where I should point? Whether I should point to front or whether I should to rear. If I point to front, what will happen? I can delete only. I cannot go back. Whereas if I point to rear, I can insert as well as I can delete. So both I can do. That's why P should point to rear. If I point here, my P is pointing here, I can insert a node here as well as I can delete a node here because of I can traverse forward because it is a circular single linked list. In a single linked list, you can traverse only right side but not left side. If it is a circular double linked list, then in that case you can point to anywhere. You can point to front or you can point to back. There it is allowed. Whereas here it is circular linked list. So when I say circular linked list, always it is a single linked list. So here the answer is it has to point to rear node. So if I point to rear node, I can do both operation, insertion as well as deletion easily. Similarly, another question. The following C function takes a single linked list of integers as a parameter and rearrange the elements of the list. The function is called with list containing the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That means you are having a linked list with 7 nodes. First pointing to second, second is pointing to third, third is pointing to fourth, fourth is pointing to fifth, fifth is pointing to sixth, sixth is pointing to seventh, and seventh is pointing to nowhere. This means this linked list is already available with 7 values. The values are given like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So how many nodes are there? 7 nodes. In the given order, what will be the content of the list after the function completes execution? So when my function is executing, what is the name of the function? Rearrange. If the rearrange function is executed, then what is the final rearrangement of the linked list? How the linked list will be displayed? Here if you observe here, I am passing my list as a parameter. List is what? List is nothing but starting address. So list is a pointer pointing to this first node. List is a pointer pointing to the first node. First node address 100, second is 200, third is 300, fourth is 400, fifth is 500, sixth is 600, seventh is 700, and the last node is pointing to null. So this is the address I am assuming, because every node should have a starting means address. So here the question is what? If list is null or list of next is null or list is not null, list of next is not null, then return true. That means if list is null, return. If list of next also return, means null, return. If it is not null, then come inside. Here I am putting a loop. In the loop, what you kept? Because P is pointing to list, P is pointing to first pointer, and Q is pointing to second node. First and that means P and Q are pointing to two neighbor nodes. Here the question is what? While Q, if Q is pointing to a node which is not null, then it come inside. Temp equal to P of value. I am storing the node's value, and P of value equal to Q of value, and Q of value equal to P of temp. That means these three statement is what? It is interchanging these two. That means 2 and 1 is coming. 2 and 1 is coming. Again here what happened? P equal to Q of next. P comes to Q of next. P comes to Q of next. Q of next means here. That means P comes here. And Q equal to P if P of next is not null. That means if it is not null, it comes. But here Q of next is not null. So Q comes to P of next. P of next means here. Yeah. So my Q is pointing here. So P is pointing here and Q is pointing here. That means again after pointing P and Q, both has to interchange. So latest value of P and Q is now. So 4, 3. Because every time these three statements is executing, that means swapping. After that, again P equal to Q of next. So Q is pointing to fourth node. So P of next means, so P points to Q of next. So that means fifth node. And Q points to this. Again interchange. So 6 and 5. So every time the neighbor nodes are interchanging. And finally P goes to here. Now Q points to null. Q is coming out of the loop. So whenever Q is coming out of the loop, then loop will terminate. Because here the condition is while Q. If Q is true, continue. If Q is null, stop it. So that means at the end of the loop, what will get? 2, 1, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7. So this is the answer. B is the correct answer. Because every time it is interchanging the neighbor nodes. So please observe here. In last two lines, the pointers are changing the position. So P points to always the first node, Q points to next node. After that, it is interchanging. After interchanging, P goes to Q's next. That means P goes to third and Q goes to fourth. So this will continue until you reach end of the list. Whenever the Q points to null, the loop will terminate. By that time, all the rearranging will be finished. So this way you will get the output. So most of the time they will ask this question. They will give a value and they will ask what is the output of the given program. So you have to first draw a node, means a list. After drawing the list, means the set of nodes, then you have to means solve one by one. So out of this 5, 3 are for swapping, and last 2 are changing the position of pointer P and Q. Because with help of the P and Q, you are able to retrieve the data as well as you are able to swap the data. And this will continue while Q. While Q means what? If Q is not null, then continue. Whenever Q is null, that condition false. Whenever condition false, loop will terminate. So this way it will execute. Another question there again. The following C function takes a simple single linked list as input. It modifies the list by moving the last element to the front list and return the modified list, and some parts of the list is left blank. Here blank portion is here. This portion you have to fill. So which statement you write so that it will do this? Because what is our requirement? The requirement is going like this. The following C function takes a single linked list as a list of argument, means input argument. If it modifies a list by moving the last element to the front, last element data you have to bring to front of the list and returns the modified list. After that it will return. So what statement you would write in the blank line so that it will come here. Now if you observe here, the move to front takes how many parameter? It takes head as a parameter, and it checks whether head is null or not. If head is null or head of next is null, if anything is true, return the head. Return the head. Here, this while loop, what is doing? It is checking whether P of next is null or not. If P of next not null, Q is to P and P equal to P of next. So P and Q are maintaining to pointer. Whenever Q of next is null, Q of next is null, and P of next equal to head, you should write here P of next equal to head, and Q of next is null and head equal to P. So if you write this statement, automatically this will come to front, because you have to bring this node to front. So the last one is the correct one. Okay. So you can check also, because here initially the P here and Q equal to also here, and your goal is to bring this last node to front, because the question is it modifies the list by moving the last element to the front of the list. Assume here 10, 20, 30, 40. The 40 should come to front. So to bring to front, what you write? So you should write Q of next is null, Q of next equal to null, and P of next equal to Q, P of next equal to Q, and Q of P of next is null, okay, and P of next is head. P of next is head, as well as head equal to P. Head equal to P. So head should point to that node, because it has to come here. The head should come here, so that that node will come to beginning of the list. So this way you can execute. Okay. So thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.